26 unbelievable vintage photos. 26. Blast from the past. Because why not? This is a shot of the famous Salvador Dali out and about in 1953 in his goat carriage. Only someone like him would be able to pull this off. 25. No place like home. You would think, but imagine home was a concentration camp. This is a diagram drawn by a little girl who grew up in a concentration camp, and she was asked to draw her home. Sad, isn't it? 24. Windows to the soul. That's what they say about the eyes, don't they? So in order to focus entirely on the eyes for the Miss Lovely Eyes pageant, contestants had to wear these creepy masks to block out the rest of their faces. This was in 1930. 23. Oh boy! It was the 18th of November 1928 when Mickey Mouse really shot to fame with his very first sound cartoon called Steamboat Willie. That's officially his birthday, and so by the time this image was taken in the 1930s, Mickey Mouse was a firm household favorite. 22. The iron lung. In the early 20th century, one of the most feared diseases was polio, which paralyzed hundreds of thousands of children each year. It attacked the nervous system, led to paralysis, disability, and more than likely death. Although scary looking, this iron lung machine helped thousands of children, assisting them to breathe. Many children spent their lives in this machine. 21. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This photograph is one that often creeps up into my thoughts when I'm feeling a bit down. This is the exact moment an Austrian boy received a new pair of shoes during World War II. Amazing, isn't it? 20. Hush little baby. Doesn't this photo just give you the creeps? This is a mom walking with a gas mask on her face, and her baby is safe inside a gas-resistant stroller in England during 1938. 19. Race to the finish. This is one of the most incredible photographs from the Boston Marathon, and it shows race organizers trying to prevent Catherine Switzer from competing in the event. She became the first woman to officially finish the race in 1967. 18. Feel-good vibes. We needed a pick-me-up, and this is just perfect. This photograph captures beautifully just how brilliant animals are at perking kids and adults up in a hospital. This one was taken in 1956. 17. History 101. It must have been jaw-dropping for the residents of New York City to see the unpacking of the Statue of Liberty in 1885. A gift from the people of France. She's an icon of freedom, and you can imagine the feeling immigrants must have felt upon their arrival to New York City. 16. Sticking with the statue. This is just as remarkable. A shot of the beautiful statue under construction in 1884. Doesn't it look like she's taking a selfie of herself? 15. I laugh in the face of danger. Officially the most dangerous land animal in Africa, the hippo is pretty aggressive towards humans. So these circus folks were taking a huge risk by using hippos in their act. This image was taken in 1924. 14. Untold Mysteries. Isn't this one just breathtaking? 1922 was the year that Tutankhamun's tomb was uncovered. 3,245 years untouched. It was uncovered by Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon, and the mystery surrounding the death of the occupants of the tomb has been attributed to the Curse of the Pharaohs. 13. Happy New Year's! And what a way to bring in the new year in the 1960s. This was taken on New Year's Eve in 1960. 12. Looks can be deceiving. When you initially view this image, you don't think much of it, but this photo was taken pre-Taliban days. Hard to believe, isn't it? At one stage, the country was working hard towards democracy, and women had access to everything that a modern-day woman has access to. From the mid-90s, that all changed, and education and employment was banned for girls over the age of 8. 11. A form of time travel. That's what a photograph is, and this image puts you right there at the scene of this bombed London home in 1940. 10. Madness and mayhem. H-Day was a mad day in Sweden, as it was the first time the Swedes drove on the right side of the road, and as you can imagine, it was a disaster. All of Sweden's neighboring countries were already driving on the right-hand side, so I'm not sure why Sweden weren't, but when they finally made the switch in 1967, it wasn't pretty. 9. Remember the past to build the future. This photo brings back tragic memories. Hundreds of wedding rings belonging to Holocaust victims. January 30, 1933 to May 8, 1945. 6 million Jews were killed. These figures didn't even represent any victims killed during wartime fighting. 8. 3 days of peace, love, and music. That's what the original poster had written on it. And little did they know they would attract 400,000 people for the very first Woodstock in 1969. There were massive traffic jams and people ended up sleeping in their cars to pass the time. But the eventual outcome was worth every minute waiting. 7. Being normal is boring. Apparently, that's a quote by Marilyn Monroe. How incredible is this photograph of the beautiful Monroe at the tender age of 12? 6.